Retro episode 2 Redux. We're redoing episode 2. We had some audio issues the last time we recorded, and we're redoing it. Tonight, joining me is Liam Davenport and Drew Tufusco, which I think I just said that bad again.
Close enough.
As long as I don't call you Defusco, right? Is that
That's
what
right.
you said?
That's right. Diffusco.
Oh, man. So how are you guys doing tonight?
Pretty
Well,
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, nothing crazy? No.
No, I've been commuting a bunch all of a sudden. My office is opening up and they're expecting us to go in a little bit more. And it's kind of nice. I forgot how it was sitting on a train playing Assassin's Creed 4 on my Switch. Is like, this is nice. I don't, I like being home, but also I like a little quiet time on a train with a video game. It's been good.
Yeah. I hear you. I'm a people's person, right? So I like the office environment. But yeah, same.
Well, you didn't have to work from home, did you, Drew?
No, I let my guys. I'm a supervisor, so I let my guys work from home a little bit, but most of the time, no. We were never full time at home.
No.
It's tough. I mean, we're shipbuilders, so it's. I mean, we're not shipbuilders. We're engineering, but we need the support, so it's tricky.
Yeah. We very very similar with engine building. I work from home a lot because I do a lot of spec analyst stuff and of that nature and prints and things like that. So I don't have to be there as much. But it is nice to go to the office and actually get to talk to actual people that aren't my kids
Yeah.
hanging out with me at home.
Yep.
And get some adult time, I guess is what my wife likes to call it when she goes to work.
Exactly. Yep.
I don't take any offense to that either.
Yeah.
She's not getting any adult time at home.
Hey, we all need it.
Right.
We all need time away sometimes.
Yeah.
It's true.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no. Tonight's been great. Pizza. I had pizza for dinner.
Ooh.
And try to hurry up and get everybody home to bed so we could record this. Awesome. So let's go ahead and talk some experiences because I'm sure people want to hear about the game more than what I had for dinner. We'll start with you, Drew. We'll go around and share our experiences with the game.
So Super Mario 2 is dear to me in many ways, just because I think the time it came out was so unique. I'm probably still a little too young for when it first came out, but this was definitely one of those cartridges I had as soon as I got my NES at a young age. And to today, I pretty much play that game every year. And it happens to be I play it right around my birthday time. I like to play through it without warps, right? Because it's fun to experience these games and the different level designs. Because as we'll talk about tonight, this game has brought so much to the Mario franchise that people might not realize, right? And without this game and without the root history of it, we would never have gotten certain characters, certain landscapes, a lot of that stuff, which came from the roots of this. So it's fantastic. And like I said, I play it every year, and it's always one of those fun things for me. But this year was actually a little bit different. My kids are 5 and 7, and they got to experience with me. I said, hey, Sunday afternoon, I'm gonna play this game. You guys can watch it. They were playing with their toys, but I found that they kept kind of coming over and was getting into it a little bit and watching it with me. I let them pick which character I played with, which was actually fun.
Nice.
A little hard, but fun because you weren't used to certain characters. But yeah, they loved picking all of them. And I ended up playing through the entire game, no warps, and I didn't die. That's always a bonus. I killed it.
Nice.
I didn't even have to rewind, so it was a good fun game. And this game's not easy, as we know. It's a tricky game. Some of those boss battles could just be tricky. The platforming, I'd say the platforming isn't hard, but it's not easy. I think like a Mario 1 platforming is more difficult than the platforming of this game. But there's tough parts of the game that you could fall, and you could get hit and stuff like that. But if you know the game well enough, you know how to get hearts, you know where the mushrooms are. It's not super hard, especially playing it this much. So that's kind of my history. I don't have like a specific story in time. It's just become one of my favorites over times because of the rich history and what it's done for the franchise. And it was really cool this time around playing it that I got to play it along with my kids.
Yeah, the waterfalls with the fish are the spots that get me from time to time when you need like pinpoint accuracy on those jumping fish. Those unless you got Princess Peach or you're just really good at the game. Yeah,
exactly.
It's really hard.
Princess Peach.
You definitely need a Princess Toadstool that level.
Yeah.
And that's the point. Like I said, there were certain parts of the game that were super challenging because I would have like Toad for those. Because that's who my kid pitched that level. I'm like, no, you don't want Toad this level.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, you're playing on hard mode.
Yeah, well, and it's funny. You could definitely tell each level has certain when they designed it had certain players or characters in mind. Right, this level was meant to be played with this character.
Oh yeah,
which I think is cool and unique.
You could almost play like a cool multiplayer Super Mario 2 with like a spinner.
Yeah,
and it selects your character.
That's
and
a great
like,
idea.
You know, each person plays a level and they have to spin the wheel to see who they have to play it with.
That'd be funny.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That might have to be like a streaming experience at some point.
Yeah, that'd be a good one.
Talk some people into it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Liam, do you want to hit us up with your experiences?
Yeah, I can't remember if I got this before Mario 3 or not. So I obviously had Mario 1. It came with my NES, and I was super young. And I played that game, but I wasn't very good at it. And I don't think I beat it as a kid. I beat it years later. But I think this was the first Mario game I ever beat. I remember the feeling of beating Wart at the end, and like I just felt like an absolute champion. Like it was the coolest accomplishment. Yeah. I loved Mario 3 as well, but this is the game that I always came back to. I remember I can picture it in the KB Toys that was in my town. I like they had it in the case behind the cash register. They had all like the really good NES games back behind the case, and then you had like the bargain bin out in the front. But no, I love this game. I play it every so often. I try to challenge myself. I'm impressed that Drew played it and didn't die. Like that's incredible. Yeah. I played through it recently. I got my butt kicked. I did an only Mario run with no warps, so I kind of handicapped myself, but it had been a few years, and some of those platforming points and some of the, like the exploration areas where I like kind of got turned around, and you know, you go underground at one point and then you pop back up and you got to ride on a thing and go back underground. It's not very linear, and I get turned around. But as a kid, that was great. Like it felt like you could dissect the thing, right? It felt like I remember this game was one that I learned, you know. It's like Mario 64 too. Like you sat there and you just learned all the little things. And you got your butt kicked until you didn't. Yeah, no.
It's more of an adventure game.
It really is.
Than Mario 1 is.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. What about you, John?
So I have similar experience to Drew. I played this as a child and loved it. I don't remember the time frame that I got it, and I remember the first time I played it would have been at my cousin's house because he had a box of NES games that he got at a yard sale with his mom, and we had everything. I'd go there before school and wait to get on the bus at his house, and we would just play NES for like 30-40 minutes every morning before school.
Cool.
And this is one that we played quite a bit. Never really got very far as a kid. Like, I don't think I ever got past like World 3 maybe as a younger kid. And I had never beaten this game until maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I decided to play it because it was kind of on my list of Mario games, or really even just Nintendo games that I never beat as a kid that I wanted to go back and complete. So yeah, it was definitely a different experience going through the second half of the game as an adult. Being able to learn those things, it definitely helps having Rewind, because I'm not the platform game player that I used to be in my youth. My hands are not what they used to be after working with them either. So I definitely, when I beat this game the first time, I did it using Princess Toadstool for the whole basically the whole game. Just playing easy mode. No shame here for me. I'll just lay it out. I'm no pro.
But that's the way to go too. Sometimes, there's certain levels I use Princess Toadstool, and you just know it's like Mario 1, where when you're doing like a little bit of a speed run, you can make the jump from pipe to pipe. It's the same thing in this, right? Like in the desert levels, like you can make the cactus jump before you have to jump over that pokey. So like it's that stuff for me that I love. It's that muscle memory that makes me, good at this game in a weird way. It's because it's which characters.
Yeah, you played it a bunch.
Yeah, but and it's that curveball, like you said, that the different characters make it unique, right? I think that's what blew my mind as a kid when you had this game. The first thing you can do is, who do you want to play as? And it was a huge change, right? Because if you remember back to the first Mario, you could be Luigi a little bit, but could he jump higher?
Luigi was exactly the same.
It was the same, right? So it was like, this was like, wow, each character plays. So then you want to try them all, to see what's what. And Toadstool definitely, or Princess Toadstool really is like a cheat mode in a weird way. She's slow, but it's just that it helps you recover, in a mess up situation.
And we don't see the character selection again until Mario 3D World. Is that right? I feel like there's nothing.
No, New Super Mario Brothers.
New Super Mario.
It was a long time.
You choose.
Yeah, you could choose. You could choose between
the Toads and Luigi and the Toads. Yeah, that's right.
Luigi and the Toads, and then later ones had. I can't remember his name now.
But did it let you choose them, or was it like if you had a player 2, then they played as that? You couldn't just play as a Toad in those, could you?
I
don't know.
Man, now you're making me think. I think it was in the Wii. I think you could choose.
Those games, I hate to say it, because they're fantastic, are kind of a blur to me. That they all merge together. I have a hard time keeping
all
track.
of them. Yeah, any of the ones past the DS one all feel very samey to me. They just changed a few things.
Agreed. And call me crazy. When they remade Mario 64 for the 3DS, couldn't you... Maybe it was the DS. Couldn't you play as like DS. Yoshi?
And Wario.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, Luigi, Yoshi, and Wario. You're right. That definitely you could do. And they each had certain attributes in certain areas. Yeah. You're right. No, you're totally right.
I don't know when that came out compared to like the Wii games.
Probably that would have been like 2005.
Yeah.
Maybe. It was a launch game.
Was it?
I'm pretty sure.
I think it was, yeah.
It was either a launch game or came out very shortly afterwards.
That's another game I've played way too many times.
Yeah.
Mario 64 is a classic. That's it for another show.
Absolutely. Off track there already.
Yeah. Okay, so we have some listener experiences also. These came from Discord. They don't have to come from Discord. If anybody is listening that isn't on the Discord, you can email your listener experiences to ontopicretro@gmail.com, and I'll add them to the show as long as you do it in a timely fashion. I'm going to start mentioning the next game that will be on the next episode at the end of the show, just to give you guys a chance to get your experiences in. And this is a bi-weekly show where I'll do this every other week. So you'll have 2 weeks from the time that the show launches to the next show to get your experiences in. So first one here comes from Octorock, which is Adam in the Discord. He says, I vividly remember walking into Circuit City with my dad and buying Super Mario Bros. 2. And come to think of it, it was my first ever video game software purchase if you don't count the pack-in Super Mario Bros. Duck Hunt cartridge, which, that's a pack-in, you didn't buy that.
Yeah.
He says, I remember having to call Nintendo Power Hotline because I couldn't figure out that you had to jump on and pick up the eggs that Birdo was spitting at you in order to defeat him. Says then he had to call again because he didn't realize that the bird at the beginning of the next level was riding a magic carpet, and that you had to jump on him and pick him up.
We've all been there.
In order to gain control of the carpet.
Yeah.
He says he felt silly both times. So after that, he was like, okay, I guess the answer to everything is to just pick it up and throw it.
True.
which isn't that far from the truth, because you pretty much do that in this game. If it's available, you try to pick it up.
Yeah, except if it's a bomb, you got to watch yourself.
Yeah, pick up the bomb, and the first time you pick up a bomb, you're like, what the heck? What do I do with this?
Yeah. Hot potato.
And I'll give you guys a fun fact about Birdo. If I remember correctly, that the sound effect that Birdo uses to shoot the egg is the same sound effect they stole from Legend of Zelda, the Fire Rod.
Love that.
Yeah.
I got to go back and listen to
that's
that.
right.
Yeah. I don't know where I saw it, but
Have you, speaking of Birdo, have you seen in the speed run that guy will defeat Birdo in the egg? Like, he'll use the same egg and
What?
hit the Birdo all 3 times.
wait, I haven't seen
Really?
it. So what does he throw it
Yeah.
and then catch it before it falls?
He throws it
through.
Yeah, he throws it in mid jump, and then it skips off Birdo's head, and he catches it on the backside of Birdo, does it again, catches it on the front side, and throws it one more time.
I'm looking this
Amazing.
up as we talk.
Yeah, I have it in Discord in the.
Oh, okay. 8 minutes and 52 seconds is the speed run.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
I don't know. I have it listed. I have it listed at the bottom. It's something close to that. But yeah, I seen that and I was like,
Well, what
"That's
is it?
crazy." I have a hard enough time catching, consecutive eggs and throwing them at Birdo.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm catching the same one over and over again.
Well, with the speed run, I mean, you only really have to play. Like, I forget what it is. 5 levels, 6 levels.
Yeah, it's definitely using warps.
Oh, I just watched it. The first level, he uses the key.
Mm-hmm.
He brings
On the Birdo?
On the Birdo.
Wow.
He brings the.
Yeah, I think it's one of the
second
later.
level. Yeah.
It's one of the later Birdo, and it might be a different one too. I can't.
That's impressive. That's smart too that they bring the key.
Right.
Because then the key, you don't have to wait for the egg.
Well, yeah, and then when he defeats Birdo, he's already like basically he enters the mouth of the bird like before it even gets all the way open. Like
Yeah.
he's there. I'm like, oh my good gosh, he's like pixel perfect on his movements of where he's at.
Yep.
Sorry, I
stuff.
guess sidetrack. We didn't even finish the.
That's right. That's good conversation.
experience. Yeah, it is. So he says also that let's see, which isn't that far from the truth. Which I already said that. I've only beaten the game once and would like to beat it again on original hardware sometime in his adult life before he dies, which is kind of
Good goals.
you get plenty of time. I think, Adam. I think you can
Yeah.
pull it off.
Go for it.
Yeah, he says it's one of my all-time favorite NES games, and it's my 5-year-old daughter's favorite old Nintendo game in quotations, as she calls it.
I do think that this one is more accessible to kids. I mean, like I said, like it's the first one that I beat, and it's not as sensitive. I mean, look, you got snakes that are spitting bullets at you. Like, it's not an easy game, but the ability to like jump on stuff, ride on stuff, float, pick up, throw, like it's so much more dynamic in certain ways than other Mario games, and I feel like it's more accessible then. It gives kids more options on how to get through a level.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it
I think
has
so, too.
that cartoony-ish
Yeah.
type feel and look, right? Compared to the super pixelated. You know, I think it's more just to try and gravitate the kids right into it more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, if you were a kid and you played this first and tried, you almost couldn't go back to the original Mario. It'd be hard.
Yeah, I
How
agree with
different
that.
they look.
I agree.
All right, so the next experience comes from Oops in our Discord, and he says Mario 2 is the first NES game that I went back to as an adult that I didn't beat as a kid. My girlfriend at the time, wife now, was overplaying the game and saw my overplaying games and saw my NES and wanted to play Mario 2 because it was her favorite game as a kid. She then proceeded to beat it that night. Over the next week, I had to grind it out and beat it. The box copy in my profile picture is actually my wife's box copy from when she was a kid, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, my wife hasn't beat Super Mario 2. I know that for sure.
My wife saw me playing the Mario run and decided to correct me and point out the fact that you can play as different characters. And I was like, no, I know. And she thought I was crazy. She was like, what are you even doing?
Yeah, why are you playing Mario?
Yeah,
Come
why
on.
would you do this? He's the worst character.
Oh, man. And then we have Flightsy from the Discord. He says he actually got this on Virtual Console when he was young, and I thought it was pretty cool, but couldn't get very far.
Flightsy, you're still young.
Yeah, he's still young, and he was young when there wasn't even a Virtual Console when we were playing it.
That's right.
I'm watching the speed run, and it's just blowing my mind.
Oh yeah, it's
They do
crazy,
crazy
isn't it?
stuff, man.
It makes you want to go play the game and get good at it, but never that good.
So
I mean, never have the time to do that.
So
ever.
if you
No.
use Toad, you run faster if you're holding an item.
Right.
Yeah.
That's interesting. They do the other mind blowing thing is the Ouija level.
Oh yeah, the whole
when he just-
time that
Yeah.
he's playing as Toad, he makes sure that he has an item in his hand,
Yeah.
whatever it is. It's crazy.
Anyways,
Well, yep, that's all of our listener experiences. So now we'll go ahead and move on and to the game discussion and talk a little bit about anything from development to music to story. We'll cover a little bit of everything. So, a little bit of game overview. The Super Mario Bros. 2 released in 1986 in Japan using an enhanced version of the Super Mario Bros. Engine. However, Nintendo of America believed the game to be too difficult for U.S. audience.
That is true.
Yes.
Lost Levels is
Still
brutal.
today. Yeah, today it's still too difficult for
I've never beaten it.
all audiences.
Yeah.
I've only beaten it with save states and rewind.
Yeah.
But you should do it, Liam. You should go do that. It's a
Yeah.
fun experience to see
It's
the
an
different level
achievement.
designs. It's still
Okay.
not easy though. But
I'm pretty sure this game was too difficult for the Japanese audience. It's
Yeah.
just that Nintendo didn't care, and they were like, this is what you guys get.
Yeah.
You're just gonna have to get good. So, because of that, we got a reworked version of Doki Doki Panic as Super Mario Bros. 2 in the U.S. It's a game that was also designed by Miyamoto and used characters based on the Yumi Kojo Festival's mascots, which are four characters. The four characters from Doki Doki Panic were transformed into Mario characters to make it, to turn it into the Mario game that we know it as today. As far as I know, the little bit that I could find, the Yumi Kojo Festival is like they had like a cartoon show, is what these characters were based off of, is for that game.
Yeah,
So
it's
there's
weird.
like
I definitely remember hearing that this wasn't a Mario game and they turned it into a Mario game, but I didn't know it was a Nintendo game. I also didn't know that it was like Koji Kondo did the music, Miyamoto developed it. Like, this is, for all intents and purposes, a banger of a Nintendo game.
Yeah.
It just
We
wasn't
just-
a Mario game.
Yeah,
yeah.
we just didn't get it.
Yeah.
And I think the four characters that were in Doki Doki are like a boy, his mom and dad, and then like his girlfriend or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's where we get our Mario characters from, like size-wise, attributes, and all those things. Something else too, the game was so successful that it got released in Japan later as Super Mario USA. They tagged a little USA on the end because that's where the game went. And I think that didn't happen until later either. I think it was like 92 or something like that when they
wow.
finally got it over there. So, Super Nintendo, I think had already even launched by then.
But they had Doki Doki Panic. They were
That's it.
Yeah, they had the real deals. I don't know
Yeah.
why they. I don't know. Yeah. The game was also later released on the Game Boy Advance as Super Mario Advance, which was a launch title for the GBA. Not one that I bought at launch, but definitely one that I picked up later. I don't think I've ever beat that version. Now that I'm thinking about it, because I just beat the Virtual Console version as an adult, so I definitely know I didn't beat it.
But is that version any different, or is that the same as like the All Stars version?
So it's reworked. They from what I remember, there's actually there's voiceover for the Mario characters.
Okay.
Charles Martinet does some of them, and then there's another person that does the other half.
Like sound effects, like within the game.
They do, yeah, they do have like voices. Like they have dialogue. It's not a whole lot
Because
like
the
it's Mario
story,
stuff.
I'm going to get to the story in a minute, but there's like any. I don't want to say cut scenes. That's probably not the right word, but there's not really any scenes that has the story besides really the end.
Well, I think you get the stuff like the sound effects that Toad makes. Like,
Like little grunts and stuff.
Yeah, and stuff that Daisy, or not Daisy, Princess Peach says. But I just remember listening to other people complain about how annoying it gets after a while. I guess it's pretty common throughout the game that they're making all these added sounds that weren't in the original game.
Yeah. But it's just about the game overview. I think we should. You told the good story on the kind of the origin of it, but we got to think about too what this game did for the Mario universe and the Mushroom Kingdom universe, right? Because
Yeah.
the TV show, as we know it, the Super Mario Super Show, was obviously heavily influenced by this game, right? Super influenced to the point where Bowser really isn't even in the TV show. It's King Koopa, which, as we know it, is like a green alligator with a crown, right?
Which Koopa or Bowser in the first one didn't have a crown. Like Wart had the crown, right?
It was like an alligator turtle.
It was like a Wart, is legit Wart and Bowser combined. They merged together and created this King Koopa character. And even the show was, heavily based on a lot of the level designs that came from this game, which again was never, to Liam's point, designed for Mario, right? So it's crazy. They tried to just slap this skin on a game for the West, the United States, essentially, and say, here's your Mario 2, just hoping it would do okay. And it kind of like blew up in this sensation of like hey, we all know this isn't like Mario, but we don't care. It's fantastic. The game is just it's the influence it's had, and I think Nintendo in a way was shocked, right? And that's when they kind of said, "Oh, we got something here." Right? I think this is what really made Nintendo realize that in a weird way that Nintendo is going to be, Mario rather is going to be their thing.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they pushed the original Mario with the platform. That was always going to be their thing. But it could have been a flop. You don't know, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
go ahead.
I talked about this when we recorded last time, but something to think about, the development of this game was happening at the same time as Super Mario Brothers 3. I mean, this didn't come out until 2 years later, after Mario 2 did in Japan. So all this reskinning and everything was happening while development of Super Mario Brothers 3 was happening. So you knew that, this wasn't going to be a continued route for the game. They were going to go back to a more platform style Mario.
But that's an interesting point, John. Just if you think about it, right? Like you said, Mario 3 was already kind of in development. Is there anything from this game that we see in Mario 3? Do you think that they said, oh man, we have to go back and add these elements? Do you know what I'm saying? Like there's definitely
vines and verticality. I would guess that maybe there was always some idea of verticality, because why would you make Mario fly if you weren't going to have something above the screen line? But it's severely limited in Mario 3. It's fun, but it's not what this is, which is like you're climbing up, you're digging down, you're going into different rooms. Maybe they added more verticality or more dynamics to the levels a little bit, because you do go underground in some of those Mario 3 levels, right?
Yeah, you go up a little bit, right?
You go down into a pipe every once in a while that leads into like underground part.
But that's a great point, Liam, that you brought up, is that Mario 2 did a much better job, and that's kind of sad when you think about a game that's mascot is a flying character, right? The raccoon. That's the mascot of Mario 3, and you brought it up last episode, so I don't want to steal your thunder, but you fly up on the screen, you don't even see your character anymore. It's
Yeah,
off,
he just disappears.
it's off screen. Like,
Yeah.
like how poor of a game design is that in a weird way?
Yeah.
I would have to say that I think that the character sprites themselves probably borrowed from Super Mario 2's designs. Because if you notice in Mario 3, he's a lot more fleshed out, like sprite wise.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So
For
I mean,
sure.
especially when you look at the sprites in Mario.
Like, I'm
1,
trying to
you
think.
can barely tell he's a person.
You know, I love Mario 3. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying by any means. It's one game that I never fully attached to. I played it plenty of times, but is there Pokies in the desert or no?
No, there's no
In-
Pokies in there.
I don't think so.
Not in Mario 3.
See, so like that's what I said was like was the desert levels already designed that we can't go back? We're not going back and adding Pokies. Do you know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like there's
The only enemies I remember from the desert level are the stupid fire.
The
Things that-
sun.
The fireball
Oh.
guys that
with
jump
the
up and go up
tails.
and down the pyramid.
Oh
yeah,
my god.
chain
yeah.
chops were in it.
Although
Chain
I'll
chomps.
say, as we're talking about the sun, so that is it Phanto, like that mask that chases
Yeah.
Yep.
you in Mario 2? Like, there's a little bit of the sun in Mario 3
There
in
is.
the Phanto.
Mm-hmm.
Although, like with Phanto, and I'm sure that you guys have this too. You drop the key, and he's like, "Okay, I'm not gonna mess with you anymore."
Yeah.
So like you just ditch that key every single time you see him. Whereas the sun, he just won't leave you alone. That
No.
guy's just
No.
like hounding you the whole level.
You need the
You
star.
can't stand still or you're it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
Um,
mean, we definitely get a lot of things. Mario 2 brings so much to the plate for the Mario franchise as a whole.
Yeah. I feel like I had looked at the Doki Doki Panic manual shots, and it seems like other than the main characters, they didn't really swap much else. So there was like a magic lamp instead of like the chemical potion thing or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
Doki Doki has basically, I think the story has something to do with the Arabian Nights,
yeah, that's what it looks like.
and that's kind of why you have the backdrops and everything that we get in Super Mario Brothers 2.
You go into pyramids and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, they basically just kept all of that and then brought it over to Mario.
But I mean, back to the Super Mario Super Show. I mean, I remember that my guy Mauser. I think he's
Yes.
awesome. That he's such a good end boss, and he's perfect Saturday morning cartoon design fodder, right? Like
Oh yeah.
cool mouse with the shades and the snarky look on his face, and he was in that show a bunch. I
Oh,
remember
he was.
him in that show.
Yeah, he was like one of Koopa's right hand
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah, so
and
that backs your point, Drew. Like
and-
this show pulled from it.
it does. And if you think about that character, which is a great, cool little character, I mean, they kind of died off. I guess in the Paper Mario series, we start to see Mouser a little bit in the
Mhm.
the little mice. I don't know if they even have a. I'd have to look it up. They must have an official lore name, of some sort. I don't know what it would be, but the little mice do have the same face. They're not the same body type. But yeah, there's a lot of cool characters in Mario 2 that did never make a return, right? In the series. Really all the bosses, never really, besides Birdo, obviously. But yeah, I mean,
Birdo never makes it another game except for being a playable character, though.
That's true. That's true with a lot of characters. Look at Wario and Waluigi now. Like those two guys
Yeah.
are like how cool did you have a co-op Wario Waluigi game? I mean, it writes
Yeah.
itself. Remember
Yeah.
the old
Waluigi's never been in a game that's not a multiplayer sports title or Mario Party, right?
Well, no,
Or Mario
Wario
Kart?
had the game on Wii, Wario Land, was it?
Well, and he had Wario World on GameCube and all the Wario lands.
Those were
There's
great.
a bunch of them.
Well,
Maybe
yeah,
we
the
could do
Game
a
Mario
Wario
did, but
World.
Waluigi.
Oh,
Waluigi's
Waluigi,
never
no,
been in
never.
one, right?
Yeah.
He's only been in the multiplayer sports and Mario Party games.
Yeah, we don't really know
Mario
much
Kart.
about him. I mean, I guess Wario, you could say a few traits, the whole Darlet thing, and WarioWare. There's enough you could probably write a book about him. I mean, Waluigi, you don't really know anything about him.
Yeah.
Yeah, we almost need a new Wario Land that has Waluigi in it, so you can get more.
That's what I want. I want
Backstory
like a
and stuff.
co-op where you can play the two of them. Like some
Yeah, that
type
would
of
be
game.
awesome.
Yeah.
I'm
Anyways,
still waiting for a Wario Land on Switch.
Yeah. Yeah.
but
sidetrack.
yeah. Oh no, that's all right. Sidetrack's good.
Let's hit the story because
Yeah.
I feel like this is take two. The first recording was just a dream, and so this whole game is kind of a cop out too. I don't know. This story is.
I have the story pulled here, so I'll read it really quick. There's not a whole lot to it. It's not a deep story, but Mario has a dream of a staircase leading into a mysterious door to a mysterious place. A voice identifies the world as the dreamland of Subcon and asks Mario for help in defeating a villainous frog named Wart, a tyrant who has cursed Subcon and its people. Mario suddenly awakes and decides to tell Luigi, Toad, and Princess Toadstool, who all report experiencing the same dream. The group decides to go on a picnic, which is kind of odd, or after you have a dream like that. But upon arriving, they discover a cave with a long staircase, just like the dream. And through a door at the top, the group gets transported to Subcon, revealing their dreams to have been real. After defeating Wart, the people of Subcon are freed, and the group celebrates. But Mario suddenly awakes in his bed, unsure if the events that took place were real or just a dream. And then he goes back to sleep.
And I mean, Drew, if this is a Hollywood script, you pass, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is what you call in Hollywood a script that it's like a safe ending, right? Where, listen, if the game sucks and everyone hated it, you're out. Like, hey, this doesn't exist. It was just a dream world. But if this was a slam dunk and your grand slam and you got all this great stuff out of it, you could reuse the IPs in future games, right?
Yeah.
And it was kind of a mixed bag. It was unique enough, like we've talked about, but it had a lot of good things that they kept with it and kept in the franchise and really built off of it. So, in a weird way, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it.
And then they would use the same cop out for Link's Awakening, like 4 years later or whatever.
Which Wart made his appearance, right?
With Wart, yeah,
classic.
Wart a cameo.
Did either one of you guys look that up? Is it the flute, or what is associated
I'm
to
saying
Wart?
that Wart gave the Zora fins, but
That's the fins?
fins?
I can't remember.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Before we talked about it. I think that's what it was.
So yeah, gameplay, our story is not super strong in this game. This isn't, your RPG game with 26 hours of story.
Right.
This is a, hey, we have this game, we have to have a story, so we're going to attach it to it at the end.
Yeah.
Nintendo's doing this at the end of the day. I wrote a story. But yeah, so there's not a whole lot to talk about, and we won't hang out too long with that. So we'll just go ahead and move on to gameplay. This is what we really want to talk about.
Oh yeah.
So this game was developed by Kensuke Tanabe. I'm horrible.
I think it's
with these
Tanabe.
names.
I would go Tanabe. Yeah.
Tanabe, yeah, I like that better. He's the one that developed Doki Doki Panic, which gave the base for Super Mario Bros. 2. He's the one that did all the development work. Miyamoto would have done the design work for all the characters and everything. And then, whenever you look at this game, especially as a kid, if you didn't know, the gameplay is so drastically different from Super Mario Brothers. This would have blown your mind as a kid. Like, I don't remember, because whenever the game came out, I would have been like 2 years old. So I did play Mario Brothers first, but not very, like, I played both of them very close together, But I mean, I'm thinking if you're like a good age where you're remembering this stuff, you just played through Super Mario Brothers, now you wait for, almost 3 years if you played Super Mario Brothers when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get Super Mario Brothers 2, and it's like totally different. Like, they just flipped it up on its head. That would be pretty a pretty significant, noticeable difference between them.
Yeah, and Tanabe did Mario 3 as well. So again, we're talking about these things being developed in tandem, but he was a course design artist or a course designer for both games, which kind of does speak to them bleeding into each other. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, and Doki Doki was developed prior.
Right.
So
came out in 87.
He got done. Yeah, he got done developing that game, and really, they probably just kind of handed it off to Miyamoto's team and said, "Hey, we need to design this into a Mario game." So start working on the characters and stuff. But all the base work was already done, for that. So he probably just hop, skip, jumped right over to Mario 3 as soon as he got done with that.
Yeah.
I imagine.
And while on the topic, I got to point out, because I played it today, I think for the first time ever, was the All-Stars version. Right? Mario All-Stars has this version, and it's quite a different game, right? I mean, graphically, it's quite amazing, right? Where you pretty much had almost zero backgrounds of the game in the original version, and now you have all these pretty in-depth backgrounds as far as super colorful enhancements and sprites. I did notice there's a few things that were actually a little different. Like there would be patches where there was 5 weeds, and now there was only 4 weeds. Like you could actually get less coins in this version. Yeah, little things like that I noticed just because I played them both, so closely together. But it was great. If someone,
where's my extra weed?
Yeah, exactly. but it's funny if someone were to ask you guys, and I thought about this when I was playing. If someone said, "Which version should I play?" I've never played the game. Which one would you recommend?
So I've never played the All-Stars version, but I played Super Mario Advance, the first one, which I think is basically that, or it's based on it. I don't have it anymore. I played it when I was in college, when I probably shouldn't have been playing it at the back of my econ class. But I remember really liking it and being like, oh, this is a cool kind of update on this game I played as a kid.
Yeah. And remember, we can play both these versions on NSO. That's the beauty of it, right?
That's awesome.
You can go into the Super Nintendo one and go to the All-Star game and play it there. And that's what I did.
Right.
So you have the ability, from my point of view, it's hard to say because the new one looks so fantastic, but there's some type of charm in that first one, right?
Yeah, I mean,
that's a tough one for me to pick.
I think if it's somebody that hasn't played the game and you're recommending it, I would probably go with the All-Stars version because it's a little bit like cleaned up, nicer looking game. Has the almost Super Mario World type sprites. The bubbly Mario.
Yeah, but then you can never improve, John. You'll never get it better. Start with the original, and then it's like a new game.
That's a good point.
It is a good point, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of like if you had the choice to go back and play Wind Waker, would you recommend somebody to play the GameCube version or the Wii U version?
No, I'd go to the Wii U version for sure.
Yeah, that's a big investment, though. This is an hour of your time.
That's a bigger investment.
That's true.
There's a lot more at stake here, Drew.
You could do both in 2 hours.
You totally could. The gameplay differs drastically from Super Mario Brothers. We have vertically and horizontally scrolling levels, 4 playable characters, which is not available in Super Mario Brothers. Luigi's there, but he's different. He jumps the highest. Princess Toadstool, she can float. Toad's strength allows him to pick up items more quickly, and Mario represents the best balance between jumping and strength. So
yeah, I mean, Toad's the sleeper here, right? And I remember playing this game, and I had a buddy who was like, Toad's the G, and I'm like, no way, that guy stinks.
I know.
And then I'm looking in the manual, it says even though he's got the least jumping power, he's got the most lift. The guy can lift. The height he can jump.
Lifter.
He's a power lifter, and the height he jumps and the speed he runs don't change when he's carrying an item because it's so effortless. And he's the fastest of all 4 of them, and he's also the fastest picker. So my buddy was always like, when you get to those sand digging levels, you gotta go Toad.
Yeah. Well, you can get to the bottom of the screen before the Shy Guy gets there. Usually you have to go a couple bit and move. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking up now. There's all the characters are based on speed, jump, and power. Like you said, those are the three. Um, but Toad, they all kind of have an extra buff, right? Like you said, Toad does the being able to pick up faster, and Princess Toadstool has the floating ability.
Well, and as we found out from the speed run, if you're holding something, Toad even runs faster than
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
normally would,
Yep.
Yeah.
which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
There was definitely things in my playthrough that I had completely forgotten about. First of all, I thought I got stuck because I forgot that when you bend down for like a second or two, you start to glow and then you like super jump. That I totally forgot that was the thing. So that took me a minute. But
That's
when
one
you
as a
guys-
kid you never even know about.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. When you guys replayed this, I know Drew, you said you played every year, so maybe you don't have this as much. But like, I'm looking at these Shy Guys, and there's two colors, and I'm like, what are they doing that's different? And the first guy is a pink one, and he just walks back and forth on the hills, and he doesn't come after you. And then you get up to a red guy, and he just drops down on you. They like the color kind of dictates what they do, and the same thing
That's
with
how
the
angry they are.
Yeah.
the Sniffets do the same thing,
The
right? You got the
Sniffets,
red
yep.
Sniffet. The red Sniffet just stands there and shoots at you. The gray one jumps around. The pink one walks around, and then he might pop you.
And
And then there's two ninjas. There's like sometimes the ninja's
yeah.
gonna run at you, and sometimes you got to pick them up and stand on them and use them to launch yourself.
you're right.
I like how the pink Shy Guy and the pink Sniffet are kind of like nonchalant, like they
Yeah,
you don't know what they're
don't
going to do.
don't
They
mess
just-
with me. Yeah,
And if you think about it, it's kind of genius design, right? It's such a minor thing, but such a major gameplay change. The Birdos do the same thing with different Birdos.
Oh yeah,
But I mean, that one's not as bad because it's you go into every Birdo fight kind of just expecting it to be unique. You know what I'm saying? You kind of play it out. But
Speak
the other
for yourself. I got a fireball to the face way too many times, man. Like,
well, there's that
You're
Thought
the
it
that
one
was
that
an
didn't
egg.
die.
there's that
Yeah.
one Birdo level. You have like no room to move left and right.
yeah.
And then the eggs bounce off the wall. That's the worst. And then you get hit. But,
This guy didn't die.
Yeah. Well, I mean, speaking of the difference in color of the bad guys, that's another thing that gets carried on through not just like Mario series, but like other games. Like you start later on, you see different colors of enemy denote different levels of enemy, of hardness.
Yeah.
So
I definitely remember Fry Guy being a lot harder than he was. When I got to Fry Guy, I was like, this is the easiest boss I've ever battled.
Friday.
But Claw Grip, that
Oh,
crab,
man.
I completely forgot about that boy.
He's
and
awesome.
I thought that I could get one over on him, and I launched myself over to his box of rocks, and I was like, I'm just going to smash this on his head, and I can't touch him. I got to wait for the dude to rip one out and chuck it at my head, catch it, and then throw it in his face. Like,
Yeah.
Thought you were
that's a
pulling a
great
fast
boss.
Those
Yeah.
bosses are fun. They're all,
Yeah.
if you think about it too, they're all similar but all different. You know, that's what I love about it. They're all great. I wish to see some of those bosses return and somehow. I'd really like to see Wart return. I mean, put him in Mario Kart. That's easy.
Yeah.
dude,
Yeah.
Guy's a
they
pimp.
owe him something.
Yeah.
You know, we need that's what we need. We need a Wario Luigi game with Wart as the villain.
Yeah.
And I think I said this last time. My hot take for this is that I think the bosses of Super Mario Brothers 2, the battles themselves, I think I like better than Super Mario Brothers 3. They're more memorable. You're
Yeah.
doing more things.
Yeah, I like the Koopalings, the Koopa Kids,
I
but
do
like
love
they're
them.
just whatever. Yeah, they're just in the game. They're whatever. You know, their personalities are good elsewhere.
I think it was more
Yeah.
excited when you got the manuals of Super Mario 3 and you just
Yeah.
got the
Oh, 100%.
backstory
Yeah.
of all the Kooplins and how they're related to Bowser, and it's like,
Wendy and Lenny. And,
yeah, I think I
Yeah,
got
to
them
me,
all.
the Koopalings are more interesting on the origin of their names than
Yeah.
their
Yeah.
gameplay.
Agreed. I mean, it was just a change the skin and repeat for the most part in those boss battles. I agree, but that's what this one.
Yeah.
You know, Mario 2, they changed it up a little bit. You know,
Yeah. One other thing that I want to flag that I forgot about this game is that I know we talked about when you're a kid, you pick apart a game, and this kind of begged for it. But that dynamic of tossing the potion and jumping into that like other world, right? And you ripping up coins to then try to like randomly get lives for yourself at the end, which is a nightmare. But like knowing where the mushroom is to give you that life bonus, and like how things are going to play out, and like, oh, I should have blown up that block so I could get to that thing. Like it's so cool. As even though I remember it being frustrating as a kid, it's so cool to look at this now and be like, yeah, when you messed that up that run, they were setting you up to not mess it up the next time. Like you're supposed to make these mental notes. Yeah, they teaching you the different things you're supposed to do in the game. It's really cool.
Mario's always about teaching you, and I mean that's why Lost Levels is so hard, because they taught you all these things in Super Mario Brothers 1, and then the very first thing you do when you fire up Lost Levels is you go hit that first box to get your mushroom, and you die.
And here's that. I know, crazy, but and the crazy thing with the potions is, and I would love to get my hands on Doki Doki just to play it. You know what I'm saying? To see what's the same and what's so different, but in a weird way, and maybe this is coming from the guy that says I just beat the game and didn't die. It's a little disappointing that you can explore this whole other mirror universe, let's call it, right? And all you can really get are coins that give you the chance for a 1-up. I haven't even talked about the slot machines yet. And then a mushroom, which just gives you an extra heart for that level.
Right.
I mean, is it a missed opportunity?
Items are pretty lacking.
Is it a missed opportunity? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a super cool concept. But I wish there was something else. And I don't know what. I'm not the designer, but I just wish there was more there. Because I love the idea. And you only
there are no power-ups in the game, right? So there's not like a fire flower or anything.
Just the superstar, and that's it.
Right.
Plus, you only get like 5 seconds in this little mirror universe. It's not a lot of time to even explore the screen.
Yeah.
Yep. It's the original Dark World.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I hate that slot machine so much. I don't like that mechanic. It's like the one thing about this game that really bugs me, because it's like that's how you're supposed to get lives. There's a few spots where you pluck something and it's a 1-up, right? Very few. But for the most part, you get it by grabbing coins and then getting to the end of the board and hoping that you get some cherries. I also, and maybe this was in the manual and I missed it, but I didn't realize until I was much older that if you grab a bunch of cherries, then a star appears, and if you kill a bunch of dudes, a heart appears. I don't know how many it is for any of that stuff, but like, that's like an interesting tactical aspect to this.
I want to say 4 cherries get you a star, and 5 enemies get you a 1-up.
A heart.
Yeah.
Or
a heart. I'm sorry. No, you're right.
That's a heart, isn't it?
A heart.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a heart.
4 cherries get you the star. Every 5 enemies get you a heart. I believe that's what it is.
but the items are pretty weak in this game.
Very weak.
Yeah.
But how cool would it be, Drew, if you could get a plushie of the little potion?
Oh, that'd be sick.
You're the plushie guy. Yeah, you're like, I gotta find.
I know. I'm trying to think. I don't really have many more. I have the King Koopa plushie from the Mario.
I've seen the
show.
Yeah, that's basically Wart. Yeah.
But there's not really any Super Mario 2 specific plushies. You know what?
You got Shy Guys. You got Shy Guys.
I got Shy Guy. I do have a Shy Guy. Yeah. I'm gonna have to look now and see if they have like an Etsy custom, non-official made potion one. Because that'd be pretty cool.
That would be cool.
I'm gonna look that up.
So as we've already mentioned, some of the different things, the bosses were added to the game, which were you only in the original Super Mario Brothers you only had Bowser at the end,
right?
And we've also mentioned Wart is the boss at the end of the game of this instead of Bowser. Something else that we haven't mentioned yet, which is surprising, is that Doki Doki Panic, the original game, required you to beat the only way you could beat the complete game was if you beat all of the levels with every character, which is something that Nintendo also thought was too hard for us. That's why we get the option to choose our character and beat the levels. You don't have to use the same character to beat all the levels. You can kind of mix and match, and then at the end it gives you the little screen that tells you how many levels you beat with each one.
Yeah, man, I'd love to play the Doki Doki one. Just don't wait to get
I don't
that.
know why they never brought that over. It's so weird.
It's on my list. I plan on buying a copy and playing it.
Yeah.
But I just
You gotta
haven't-
stream that, John.
Yeah,
I haven't
I'll
got
watch.
there yet.
I'm not a
watch
big
that.
streamer guy, but I would watch someone stream that.
Right now, the only disc games I have are Metroid, Castlevania, and Legend of Zelda.
Oh, I mean, those are good
So-
ones.
Well,
Sorry.
yeah, I haven't ventured away from. I bought those because I wanted the sound, because the Famicom disc system has the better sound chip. It has all the additional tracks and stuff in it. So yeah, those play in all those games. A lot of the good thing about, not to get too sidetracked, but Famicom disc system is a lot of the good Nintendo games are. I mean, being a Japanese only system, a lot of them play in English, and they're just like playing the NES games. So, especially those three, you can play those, 100% all the way through without having to read anything in Japanese. Just pick them up, play them. Doki Doki, I'm pretty sure would be the same way. There's no really, just when you beat it, I'm sure the ending text is probably in Japanese, but I'm not there for the story. I just want to play the gameplay
Yeah.
and see what it's like. So yeah, something else. Running was added to Super Mario Brothers 2. Doki Doki did not have running, from what I can gather. I was kind of reading a little bit about that.
Oh, weird.
That's
So
interesting.
they added the running to make it more like Mario Brothers, to make
Okay.
it feel better.
Hmm.
And then some of these elements would go on to be present in later games in the series. Moving forward from this game, the kind of like we talked earlier, the new Super Mario Brothers series and Super Mario 3D World and things like that would incorporate a lot of the mechanics that from these Mario 2 characters, like Princess Peach floating when she jumps, Luigi having a higher jump than Mario. You don't really pick anything up, so Toad's Toad, but you know what I mean. That's where he gets his appearance from. He's not flipping us off in the first game.
Yeah.
Where he's yeah, so that's gameplay. I think we kind of did a pretty well-rounded discussion on that.
Yeah.
We can move on to the few fun facts that we have left that Drew hasn't already mentioned.
Yeah.
Being the Mario 2 expert. Some of these fun facts include, let's see, I'm just going to go down to the bottom because we've already talked pretty much about all of them. This is the only Super Mario console game that doesn't have Bowser, as a mainline game.
Console
All the other
game, right.
console game. And I had to throw that in there because
Mario Land.
Mario Land has Tatonga, the alien, as a protagonist in the game. So you have to take that into account. You also have Wario in a couple of them as a bad guy,
Yeah.
as a boss. So, yeah, I definitely had to keep that to console games. It's also the fourth highest selling game on the NES. 7.46 million copies were sold worldwide, which is nuts for the 80s when you think about it.
That's really crazy when you think about what you said. They kind of just threw a stamp on it, and just, hey, let's see what happens,
Well, yeah, and I mean, this is just 5 years removed from the console crash, in the 80s. In 5 years, Nintendo's already putting out a game that sells 7 million copies worldwide, which is pretty crazy. And then the last thing I have on here, the current speed run is actually 8 minutes and 11 seconds. And it's was set by a guy named Cool Kid. And I did post his complete speed run in the Discord, in my channel on the RetroLogic Discord. And it is just crazy to watch this guy break this game. It's nuts. Like I said, he'll defeat the Birdo with a single egg, or he'll defeat a boss with one stool, like the little toadstool stool. He'll just grab it and just keep catching it in midair and throwing it back at him.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It is. It's nuts watching how. And the level, the snow level where you're jumping between the little enemies while you're sliding on the ice, and he's just weaving through them. It's crazy to watch. I mean,
some of the secrets
everyone
too.
should.
There's one or two. I think in the last level he
Oh yeah.
He jumps up, and it's kind of like the Mario 1 or Mario 3 hack, and he runs across the top of the castle stream, and he beats the level in like seconds, and that level takes forever to beat.
Well, I think the way that Mario 2 works is like the finish of the level, if it's just a horizontally scrolling level like that,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's tied together. So like if you can just go backwards and get to the end of the level if it's possible.
Okay.
Oh.
Is what I'm thinking is happening, what we're seeing when he does that. So I think he just goes backwards and goes in the same door that you would reach if you were to go all the way across the level the other direction.
Man.
That's what it looks like.
Way beyond us,
Could
Liam.
be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, speedrunners are just another level, man.
That's
Yeah.
not me. I like playing the.
Yeah.
I'm not a speedrunner guy.
You are a cool guy, though.
I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It's not me though. Wish it was.
That's not your streaming. Then.
That's not. That's
Yeah, if you have 8 minutes to spare, this is definitely something that's worth watching. Definitely go take a look at it.
Yeah.
So, that being said, I think we've fully, thoroughly, ins and outs discussed Super Mario Brothers 2. Do you guys have any final words or anything you would like to bring
Yeah.
up that we might have missed?
Yeah, I mean, my last thought is there's some things that we talk about Nintendo just kind of ignoring or forgetting, quote unquote, throughout their history. This isn't one of them. Like, we do see this, like Drew mentioned, there's 2 ways to play it on NSO right now. They remade the game for All Stars and then kind of even updated it beyond that on GBA. You can play that then on the Wii U. Like, this game is woven in many different ways into the fabric of Nintendo, but then there's weird oversights like Mario Maker where there's no Mario 2 representation.
No
Everything
love.
but, basically. So, and there are things from this series that I think could be cool, like that stopwatch thing that you rip up and it freezes time. Like, there's a couple
Yeah.
dynamics to all of this that I think would be neat. Bring back Claw Grip, bring back Mauser. Pidgeot's cool on that magic carpet. Like, there's some
Yeah.
other stuff on here that I'd be down to have. You can leave Phanto behind. Like, as a kid, that thing scared
Here's
the
another
crap-
one.
Yeah,
Another one,
scared-
Drew. You need a Phanto plush.
Yeah,
Yes, but I mean, but you brought up a great point, Liam. How many of these new 3D Mario games do we get? Like, where we see, I hate to say it, a lot of the same worlds, like World 1, you know,
Right.
grass,
Yeah.
World 2, desert. Make
Yeah.
World 2 Super Mario World 2. And just
Yeah.
put different levels based off of that game.
yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
how amazing would that be? Think
Or
about...
just bring back the plucking mechanic. Like, it's kind of cool to have something that you're ripping out of the ground and throwing around. I don't know.
And
Yeah,
make
I
it-
do find
yeah.
it strange that we haven't got any of the items. Like, you could
Yeah.
easily put the magic potion in Super Mario Maker. Like,
Yeah.
But
and it would work.
Remember Odyssey when you unlock, spoiler alert, the Mushroom Kingdom, right, from N64? And it was like, this is the best thing ever. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
imagine if it was just a world based on Mario 2.
yeah,
People would go crazy
be-
for
yeah.
that too.
yeah.
I get it. They're not going to remake this game. Like you said, it's out there. You can't really remake it any better. It is what it is. But you could use a lot of that in future games. I think you could.
For sure.
And also, so the bullets that come out of the Sniffit are things. It says they spit bullets of evil dreams. So just an FYI, when those things are getting spit at you, it's evil dreams.
That's amazing.
And
Don't let it hit you.
And I know that we mentioned that there's a bunch of things in this game that stick on, but I feel like Babam is a big one. Like that.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not until later in the game that you start seeing them, because you get those regular red bombs at first, and you kind of learn that mechanic, and then suddenly you yank one out of the ground and it starts charging at you and it's going to blow up in your face, and then the next board, all of the birds start dropping them on your head. But like Bob-omb is a great character. I love the Bob-ombs in the Paper Mario series. Like,
Yeah.
you can't even. I mean, Mario 64. They've been in everything. It's so crazy to see Shy Guys and Bob-ombs and even Ninja and Pokies. Like, they're all from this game.
Agreed.
Yeah, it's more important to our experiences in the Mario world, the Mario games afterwards, than I think any of us even really realize.
100% agree with you.
100%. Drew, did you have anything you wanted to
No,
mention?
I think Liam touched on a lot of the stuff. Just to emphasize that if you've never played this game, you owe it to yourself to go and try it. You know, like we said, it's on NSO in 2 different forms. Use rewind, use save states. I'll say it.
Yeah.
Beat the game and experience. It's not a super long game. It really isn't. Even if you've never played it before, I bet you could still beat it in one sitting using rewind and save states.
I guarantee you could.
But go do it because it's fantastic. It's unique. It's quirky. It's fun, and it's just it's fun to explore it. It's not super difficult. It's hard. Don't get me wrong. It's not unbeatable though. If you need a guide, use a guide. It's fine. You could get lost in a level or two if you don't know. But that's all. That's really my last remark. Is go. You owe it to yourself to go play it. If you're a Nintendo fan enough that you're listening to this podcast, then you owe it to yourself to play the game.
True.
Yeah, don't. I mean, there's no spoiling. Just it's a great game. Go play it. You'll have to experience it for yourself to understand its true power and meaning.
Mm-hmm.
So, Drew, go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you. You know, what kind of projects you got going on.
Yeah, I do a podcast with my co-host John Blanco, known as the Blanc on the interweb. We do a show called Dad's After Dark Show. We are very dark themed. We do not recommend children. But our main focus is Nintendo. Or just like all you guys, we are a Nintendo-focused podcast. But we kind of take it in a unique way. We talk about topics that not everyone else talks about, as well as talking about dad topics, life topics, kid topics that people don't want to talk about. We do our Manscaped Dad, and we get into the details because that's what we do. It's fun. It's kind of like if you go out to the bar with your buddy and have a couple beers, and you kind of do the BS talk and stuff that comes up. That's what we do. We do it. We're real. We're live. We're not putting on a show, but we enjoy doing that. So that's the Dad's After Dark Show podcast. We do every 2 weeks a main episode. But part of that is our main focus. We love doing giveaways. We love doing competitions. And I'll talk about 2 competitions. We do a monthly mayhem, which is every month we pick a new game, and it's direct competition where everyone can play against each other, typically a high score of some sort or some head-to-head battle. Whoever wins gets a $15 eShop credit. And then everyone else that partook in it gets put into a random bucket to be drawn. So we want to reward people for just playing, not just for being the best. So we focus on that. And then this other new giveaway that we've been doing is called the Bounty Board, where we give out a really difficult bounty, and the first person to do it gets rewarded with a $10 credit to either PlayStation, Xbox, or Nintendo. We let you choose. The current bounty that we just promoted is for Kirby in the Forgotten Land. You have to collect all of the Waddle Dees. You have to 100% it. And then we try to make it fun. You got to take a picture of what you're doing with, your face blown up like Kirby, that just sucked in an item. And the first person to do that and send us a picture, get $10. So is it a lot of money? No, but it's fun. It's competitive.
That's fun.
And we love
keeps people engaged.
Exactly. We love giving back to the guys. I don't think any of us are doing podcasts because we're making a living off of it. We do it because we enjoy it. We love it. We want to give back to each other. So
it's the opposite. It costs us money and time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's us. We have a Twitter account. We're part of the Nintendo Dads Family Podcast as well, so we're on that Discord. But Dad's After Dark Show, give it a listen.
And Drew's being extra humble right now. He's actually an expert landscaper. He's got some. if you missed the stories, he's got some fantastic stories on his podcast of dealing with him against nature, him against the animals.
I was gonna say, if you're against animal cruelty, do not listen in.
April, it's April, a matter of time. I'll be out there doing the yard work. Just wait, the stories will be coming. There'll be more and more
for spring. Yeah. So I co-host a podcast with Adam, who actually submitted a thing earlier on here. Retro Groove podcast, music based. Adam and I are big music nerds. We both collect vinyl. I still have my CDs from when I was a kid, and I still buy them sometimes, which is crazy. And yeah, it's kind of, we pick a topic each week. That's our B-side. We catch up on news and releases and stuff, and then we kind of pick either an artist. We do video game spotlights. This past episode was all about Weird Al and how he's the gateway drug to all of our generation's sense of comedy, basically.
Yeah.
And how we were exposed to pop culture and music half the time. So yeah, Retro Groove podcast. It's Retro Groove _ pod on Twitter. Yeah, super fun. Thanks for having me, John.
Yeah, it was a blast. Just as fun as last time we did this.
Yeah, really appreciate it.
But yeah, no, definitely go check out these guys' podcasts. They put a lot of work into them. Drew, with, like you said, with Monthly Mayhem, it's pretty much been to me, the thing that has really well-rounded the Nintendo Dads community, brings everybody in. We all play together. And then Liam with his music podcast was something that, I don't listen to a lot of music podcasts, and I learn a lot of things that I don't know, and I like fun facts and, like all the interesting points of view. I don't listen to all the same music that everyone else does, so,
yeah.
You just get some different points of views that I wouldn't get from myself. So it's definitely worth listening to and gain an appreciation for things that you don't normally listen to.
Yeah.
Definitely worth checking out. So as I said before, I will announce the next show's game, which will be Pikmin. I'll be reaching out shortly to try to find some experts to come talk about Pikmin with me. I'm sure I won't have, too hard of a time finding somebody that loves Pikmin. Dan's probably going to be mad if I don't pick him. But I don't know. I'm probably going to have to save a Star Fox episode or something for Dan. I might have to let somebody else do Pikmin. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, Pikmin's it, and that's going to be a blast. I can't wait to talk about Pikmin. It's one of my favorite GameCube games. Playing on the GameCube was kind of hit or miss for me. It was at a time where I didn't play a lot of games, and man, Pikmin just like sucked me in. If I wasn't playing Pikmin, I was like Melee, but I mean, those were like the two for me.
Yeah.
But yeah. So thanks for listening to On Topic Retro. We're a part of the Retrologic family of podcasts, which is also underneath the umbrella of the family, or Nintendo Dad's family of podcasts. If you'd like to send in your personal experiences for the next show but don't have Discord, please send them to ontopicretro@gmail.com. If you haven't joined our wonderful non-toxic Retrologic Discord or Nintendo's Dad's Discord, you guys feel free to join the Retrologic.games or Retrologic Discord at Retrologic.games. Details are all there. You can join for free. The Nintendo Dads, I believe, are still $1 to join.
Mm-hmm.
Think so, yeah.
But I highly recommend. It's also a very good Discord community for anybody that is looking for a all Nintendo Discord.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's pretty much it for this episode. Stay tuned for more. There should always be more. I plan on doing this for a little while until I run out of games, which I've got plenty of games. And thanks again, guys, for joining me.
Yep, thank you.
Hopefully we won't have to re-record this. Bye now.